Synthetic Man did a playthrough of a remake of Resident Evil 9 Requiem. And there's an interesting thing that Perfect Day pointed out because, as it so happens, the Resident Evil game is by Capcom. And last stream, I talked about another game that Capcom was publishing called Pragmatica or some shit. And I noted that the advertising heavily featured a porcelain doll, child beauty pageant looking child that whose feet was like a main star of the trailer. Well, as it turns out, in this other Resident Evil game that they recently released or republished by Capcom, there is a child character in it, and surprise, she is also a weird porcelain doll, uh, hyper realistic model. Now, before the child was introduced in the plot, people who had played the game before, because Synthetic Man had not played the game before, were excited for this character to be introduced. You have Noko Pilot saying, "Time for uh-oh." Wonder what that means, chat. More bouncing. Lots of crying emojis. They're crying because it's so sad that she's in poor condition. She's so tiny, crying. She can't defend herself against the zombies, chat, is what they're saying here. Crying. And then this guy says, CUNY, which I assume is him showing his support from being from the New York University that has the same acronym here. Crying, crab dancing. I don't know what the fuck that means. Okay. Wait, no, the crabs are. I don't know. I don't want to make that link. Lots of crying here, as you can see. The little child is scared. They're crying for her. Child lying on the bed. They're crying for her. Lots of crying. Oh, her feet are visible now. The chat is like, oh no, we can see her feet. She doesn't even have. She doesn't eat. She's in a fucking zombie apocalypse as a child, and she doesn't even have shoes, chat. Completely defenseless. Can't even go for a walk down the street because God knows that during an apocalypse there would be glass and then you got zombie blood, and that's just a recipe for disaster there. So they're pointing out that she doesn't even have shoes on. They're crying about her feet being visible. Apparently, during this segment, the way that the little girl latched onto her, she bounces the entire time while being carried, causing more people to cry because, it's very difficult for her to be carried like that, but she has to be carried because she has no shoes. Cute and funny Enjoyer 69 in particular is extremely distraught about the tragic things that we're seeing in this. Then we have Meme Central, who is critiquing this game's poor quality voice acting. He says, this little girl sounds like she's 25. Angry emoji, like an angry, like pulse in your head, vein pulse emoji, indicating that he would prefer more accurate voice acting, probably criticizing this English dub, and not at all saying that he wished it sounded more like a child. That's not what he's saying there. He just wants accuracy. Aquilus Ranger is again crying and shouting out the name of his university. Let's see. Best character, crying emojis. Lots of people from New York shouting out their university. Oh, look, this guy's even using the feet emoji. Nowlistics using the feet emoji. Crying about the shoes again. Very upset about that. Let's see. It's just more of the same. You understand the point, chat. After 10 minutes of depriving his chat, Synthetic Man picks up the child again, lost in a torrent of CUNY University enthusiasm. Crying emojis, smashing emojis, grape emojis. Harambe88 ask an OT. What the fuck kind of word is this?
Ocios.
Ocios?
Ocios.
It says Odios in the thing. Ocios. Serving no practical purpose or result. Ask an Ocios question. How old is Emily? She is probably about the same age as Aisha, the youngest wife of the Prophet Muhammad, who was 6 when he was married to her and 9 when he raped her, which is true. It's a true statement. which makes this an A-OK under Sharia. You can rest easy, Harambe. Sounds like I wrote that. So the child dies on screen. When the child section came to an end and the first child dies, then turns to a zombie. In the next screenshot, you can see the main character attempting to perform CPR on the chest of the little girl, which gives more bouncing motion and more physical touching, which elucidated the reactions you can probably anticipate at this point. Notice below a viewer, Harambe88 again, saying, "No point letting a good opportunity to waste immediately after the child dies on screen and before she turns to a zombie." Fascinating. The guy below letting us know he would still fuck the child after she turned into a zombie. Well, at least as a zombie, her feet won't be cut up on the pavement, chap. Fascinating. Thank you, Synthetic Man, for bringing your audience to the internet. I hope the money is worth it. I hope you're proud of yourself and the direction that your life is going.